thank everybody for coming this evening, and it's been a wonderful evening. We're so happy that you're here. I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this evening about our theme, Counting Every Blessing. I'd like to thank Glenda Duncan personally for extending this invitation to me. She's been a great member of our staff, and she's supported me in the quality operations area. I'd like to thank Elroy Reed. We've had some really good conversations. Tammy Moore and Mary Lockhart White for your contribution to ensuring this event's success. Some years ago, I had the privilege of hearing Maya Angelou speak, and she said, "Let gratitude be the pillow upon which you kneel to say your nightly prayer." Yes, we have much to be grateful for. This evening and throughout the month of February, we pause to reflect upon Black History Month, to celebrate the rich blessings we enjoy from the sacrifices and toils of our ancestors during the past centuries. There are some nice Black History Month events happening here in Lake County. Among these are the Booker T. Washington Progressive Club display at the Best Bauer Dunn Museum, their lunchtime tours, African American history makers featuring Amos Bennett, the first African American settler, the Golden 13 Navy divers, and James Brister, the first African American dentist in Lake County. We can all smile for that. Annually, the Black History Month theme is announced by the founders of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, ASALH, established in 1915 by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history. Celebration of Black History Month has expanded beyond the United States. Joining our Canadian neighbors, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Republic of Ireland also celebrate Black History Month, but in October. The 2019 Black History Month theme this year is Black Migrations. ASLH explains that this theme emphasizes the movement of people of African descent to new destinations and subsequently to new social realities. This 2019 theme urges us to ask this most important question: are we counting every blessing? As we continue to stretch forward to these new destinations in social realities. This group here tonight and I've looked around, and there's just so many talented, educated, skilled, and gifted individuals. We are truly blessed. We sincerely appreciate your investment. I will admit, it is easy to get caught up and busy, isn't it? We live in a hyper-competitive global marketplace where people want to do as much as possible online. Where did you get that advice? Online. Where did you find that job? Online. Where did you meet your significant other? Should I go there? Maybe not. Online. All right, so we want things what? Faster, better, and cheaper. I'm just waiting for Amazon to start delivering my things by drones. So to be a blessing, it may actually require that you not only stay online, but get offline. Competition is stiff. What used to be enough in terms of education requires more. What used to be enough in terms of work experience requires more. What used to be enough in terms of hours you're willing to work now requires more. We are tasked with helping others with this more equation. Counting every blessing should motivate us to help others to succeed. Technological and scientific advances do not buy us that much more time on Earth. I have been in the life sciences industry for the past 15 years and have been integrally involved in bringing lots of products to market, including billion-dollar blockbusters. I've chaired international conferences. I'm going to Cuba this year. I'm going to Amsterdam. I'm going to Montreal. Chairing these conferences, I talk to some of the brightest people on the planet, and there is nothing that can reverse aging and healing for the entire body. So the point of us is this. Most of us sitting in this room tonight are over the age of 50. Likely we have more yesterdays than tomorrows. So how are we going to invest the time we have remaining? As described in William Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice, there is a scene where Portia says, "The quality of mercy, not strained, it droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes." So many of us have heard of being twice blessed. As we think about counting every blessing, the question we should ask ourselves every day Do we have a genuine attitude of gratitude? Do we appreciate the many positive things that come our way and those things we're able to share? For when we leave this world, we can't take it with us. So let's be thankful. It was a cold, windy day outside today, wasn't it? But we sure are blessed to be here in this heat with such a nice, wonderful meal. On February 1st, I opened up Google to see who they would choose first to recognize for Black History Month. They could have chosen anybody. I am convinced they made this decision carefully. It was interesting to see that Google highlighted Sojourner Truth. What is documented about Sojourner's life reveals that she was a devoted Christian who fought for women's rights. I believe she counted every blessing. I wonder how many days and nights Sojourner spent on her knees and in her prayer closet asking God to bless the generations that would come after her. If Sojourner were here today looking at your health, your wealth, and your stealth accomplishments, what would she say about your blessings? As a waterfall fills the stream of other waters, we understand that God blesses people by using people to bless other people. We as people need to be ready to help other people reach their new destinations and social realities. Or as Maya Angelou suggests, try to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. I believe we should all try to be a rainbow in the clouds of millennials. Many are experiencing turbulent times. According to research conducted by ASALH, we are seeing patterns of reverse migration amongst African American millennials who are going in new places in search of opportunities. Coaching and mentoring millennials can be a challenge. We need to keep up with the lingo and keep up with the times. Most of us come from days that are pre-internet or pre-mobile phone. We didn't depend on texting back then, and we shouldn't depend on it fully now. When you say to a millennial, I'm trying to be a rainbow in your cloud, please make sure that they are not misinterpreting what you are trying to say, like, are you liking me on Facebook? AKA the cloud. We need to help millennials understand the importance of counting every blessing. I would like to applaud the efforts of the College of Lake County. They are awesome. They have an African American Outreach Committee whose mission is to reunite the African American community through education. And I personally would like to say that they influenced my son, who went to the College of Lake County. He is the youngest person to be elected to the National PTA Board. So there's a credit, another credit in your cap. I like how they posted their goals on their website. Increase the enrollment, retention, completion, and transfer rate of African American students. This is so critical. Uphold the honor and values of the college, learning integrity, equality, service, accountability, and diversity. That's inclusive. And collaborate with college departments and community organizations to foster the success of African American students. Access to quality education is one of our biggest blessings in this country. We can now access educational programs in traditional settings as well as virtually anytime, anywhere through the implementation of web-based classrooms. As a business professional, author, and college professor, I have personally tutored thousands of students around the globe in dozens of countries on every continent, and I appreciate this technology. For our family, our new destinations and social realities have involved the National PTA, but we've also become involved in foster care in Lake County. It's critical that we help those that are unable to help themselves. There are people right now counting on you to be their blessing. So how can we help? It's the three-step process that's real simple. 1, getting started by having a willing heart and an open mind through conversations with others involved in projects. 2, setting time to make phone calls, send emails, and do some research. The internet is right at your fingertips. And 3, letting your voice and feet move to action by becoming engaged as a volunteer, contributor, or sponsor. In this context, yes, there is more happiness in giving than there is in receiving. I can personally state that the math behind counting every blessing multiplies many times over in supernatural ways. I receive many more blessings than I am capable of delivering. As I try to be a blessing, what I thought was going to be a small impact ended up being a larger impact. The seeds that we plant turn into fields of success for those needing our support. I attended Morehouse College back in the mid-1980s, and at that time, Dr. Carter presided over the Martin Luther King Memorial Chapel. I was one of the founding deacons of that chapel with Martin Luther King's son, Dexter, who also attended Morehouse, along with Tyrone Crider, who some of you probably have met. Tyrone Crider was the pastor of Mount Calvary Baptist Church in Chicago. He was regarded as a very warm, sincere, and caring individual. He helped register voters for both Harold Washington and Jesse Jackson in the 80s and went on to lead Operation Push in the early 1990s. Tyrone died 2 years ago. He was my age, only 58. He was trained in the tradition of Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. Carter, as he retired, made some statements regarding that he wished that he could have done more. I was reading the Atlanta Journal-Constitution article that was recently published November 2018. It talked about Dr. Carter, who served as a mentor for me. This article was written by Gracie Bond Staples. It talked about Dean Lawrence Carter, who for 18 years had worked to build the Martin Luther King Jr. International Chapel at Morehouse College into a global ministry that teaches and inspires ambassadors of peace. But in all those years, the ministry he founded did not flourish in the way that he hoped for. Now take it, this man had been working tirelessly to do everything he could to make global impact. But the point here is a simple one. You may not even see or understand all the blessings that come through your efforts. We need to help those so that they can have a positive impact, even though we may not be able to see it. Dr. Carter mentored and coached African American men at Morehouse. Some of the things he said to me, his positive presence and encouragement to put God first, have stayed with me all of these years. We need to be good mentors and coaches in the lives of people and help them to stay focused. I'm fortunate that my sister has been a great mentor. My wife has been a great coach that has kept me motivated, and I can see some of the output of that in my son, and I feel very blessed about that. Recently, we heard about a heartwarming story of a larger local Chicago person being a blessing. Anybody remember Candace Payne? Okay, Candace Payne charged 30 hotel rooms to her personal credit card during what was the polar vortex. Is anybody cold? Can I get an amen? Amen. All right. Candace said it was 50 below, and I knew that they were going to be sleeping on ice, and I had to do something. She had this interview with the Times. After Candace Payne's initial down payment of several hundred dollars, she received enough support to pay for 60 rooms through the rest of the week. This spontaneous act of charity attracted other volunteers in the area who chipped in to bring food and supplies to the room and even to set up makeshift kitchens in some of the hotel rooms. Candace Payne said in an interview, "I'm a regular person. It all sounded like a rich person did this, but I am just a little black girl from the South Side. I thought it was unattainable, but after seeing this and seeing people from all around the world, that just tells me it's not unattainable. We can all do this together." From my own experience, I was involved with homeless shelters for 6 years in Dallas, and I can personally say that it was one of the most spiritually enlightening experiences in my life, where I saw people transform and once again become contributing members of society. For me, what happened is my wife, and she can tell you, she decided to come back home for Thanksgiving, and someone said, just go down to the homeless shelter and give it a try. I was down there pulling apart turkeys. The director of the center says, something tells me you need to be on the board of directors here. I don't know what it is. I says, man, I'm just down here pulling apart turkeys. 6 years later, we had built 2 centers, 54,000 square feet, one for men and 45,000 square feet, one for women and children. I was more blessed through that experience than I can share in words. Many different wonderful experiences come through being a blessing to others. I was reading an article about Julius Rosenwald. Anybody know who Julius is? Julius Rosenwald, Jewish gentleman, was one of the founders of Sears and Roebuck and Company. Again, keeping it local. At one time, Sears was the largest department store in the United States. He established the Rosenwald Fund, which donated millions in matching funds to support the education of African American children in the rural South, and he was responsible for building 5,000 schools for African Americans. Those that were directly blessed by Rosenwald's philanthropy include Marian Anderson, Langston Hughes, and W.E.B. Du Bois. But let's just imagine for a moment that Booker T. Washington didn't know how to communicate with Rosenwald. What would have been the outcome of these 5,000 schools? Would they have been built at all? What I'm saying here, friends, is that our ability to collaborate with the right people at the right time and for the right reason can result in success and blessings for others. We have a lot of right people, right, that want to do the right reason in this room right now. When we think of math in its simplest form, it's 2 plus 2 equals 4, just as 2 times 2 equals 4. But math associated with blessings has multiplicative properties that we cannot explain using human logic. It's like God stepping in and saying compound interest on top of compound interest. Dictionary.com defines a blessing as a gift bestowed by God, the act or words of a person who bestows a special favor, mercy, or benefit on another person. In other words, we can be a blessing as well as be blessed. The transfer of blessings may not have to cost you anything other than your precious time. So when we count every blessing, it involves calculating, observing, uncovering, noting, timing, identifying, numbering, engaging. There is your counting. Each valuable experience revitalizing you. And blessing by letting engagement strengthen somebody in need of goodness. Nearly everything we do involves counting, from the steps we take, to the money we make, to the food we bake. So why would we not count our blessings? And when we count every blessing, we keep track of what is really important, we acknowledge the importance of people, and we create a lasting bond between people and God. Let's count every blessing. Thank you.
Dr. Thomas, don't go anywhere, don't go anywhere, don't go anywhere. Please come back up, because you have been such a profound and active person in corporate America, and because you are a doer and not just a talker. We got a lot of talkers in the world, but you are a doer. As a matter of fact, in getting to meet Dr. Thomas, I shared with him some projects that I was working on. And he has latched on to one of those projects, and he's going to help me make it happen. So I applaud this man who is a doer of the word and not just a talker only. And because of that, we want to present you tonight with the 2019 Most Influential African American of Lake County Business Leadership Award. Our next Business Leadership Award goes to Michael Darling. Mr. Darling, are you here in the audience? Michael Darling.